Matt here. So here we've got the 2501 Kubota tractor, and we're at about 52 hours or so. Just go ahead and do a video on the initial 50-hour service on this thing. Up under there is our release, and our hood comes up. One thing I'll go ahead and do right off the bat is it's only 2 bolts. I'll remove this this plastic cover. All right, so I've got 12mm medium deep socket, 3/8 drive on a 4-inch extension on my snap-on. So I'm just gonna pull these out real quick. Okay. Okay. And set this aside. And now we have access to the side of this motor here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my go ahead and blow that off with some compressed air here. I don't want any of that junk. I don't want any of that junk to fall into the motor. Okay. Okay, so now the oil cap is nice and clean for the most part. Clean enough to not worry about a bunch of that debris falling inside of the motor. Okay, so this is what I have here. Some 10W30 engine oil, Kubota brand. That's 1 gallon there. And then 2 more quarts. Also bought some hydraulic fluid because we're going to lose some when we pull that filter off. And I've got 3 filters. One is going to be an oil filter. One is going to be a hydraulic oil filter. And the other one's going to be the filter for our hydrostatic transmission. Okay. Bam. Does this one have a number on it? This is going to be our HST filter. So this will be our hydrostatic transmission filter. And there's your number right there. Okay. And then this one here I believe is going to be our oil filter, engine oil filter. Okay. Alright. So I have the Kubota tractor owner's manual here. And of course, as I suspected, our servicing of tractor is going to be on page 1, but you're not going to get anything out of it other than, you know, go see your Kubota dealer. We do have a specification table, so we can at least look and hopefully see, you know, the capacities on our, oh, there we go. Capacities on our engine crankcase. Quarts is going to be 6 quarts with filter on our engine oil. So, and as far as that goes, that's about all we're going to get that's going to be helpful to us. This oil filter is way too tight to get off by hand, but we'll just use this pair of old oil filter pliers, and bam, we're good. All right. This is the first thing I'm gonna do. Just let this start draining. Okay. I've already checked the oil just to make sure that it was in the operating range. Okay. Okay, as we can see by these filters I have here, this is one I just pulled off. So if we were to if you look at this stuff, this is going to be the filter, and it's very obvious. It's the same exact size, same exact thread size. Whereas we know what this one is. This one and this one, I wasn't 100% sure, but I am now, because obviously that is different, and that's all we need to know. This is fine. So we'll lube this gasket up and stick that guy back on. But first thing I'm going to do before I do that is get the oil draining. All right, I'm going to get down here and drain some oil. I believe it's a 19. We'll check real quick. Yep. All right, so I got my 19-inch, or my 19mm box end wrench. The paint on these drain plugs is making it kind of tight. So, okay. All right. So we got those broke loose. We got these broke loose. Gonna go ahead and let this drain. I can see from here that the gasket isn't stuck to the block or the pan. It is actually on the plug, so taking note of that. Okay. If this is your first time draining oil on anything, just kind of do like that, you know. Well, see, that gasket's not coming off with the plug, so I'm gonna go get my little pocket screwdriver, and I'm gonna pry that away from the pan, because I don't want it to fall into the oil after there's my pocket screwdriver. I don't want it to fall into the oil after I've pulled the plug out, because that's a pain in the butt. So if you can see that, I'm just trying to get that gasket to come with the plug, and it seems to be pretty well stuck on there. Oh yeah, it's real stuck on there. So I might just let it ride, and because I could end up just with this copper, I could end up just messing it up. So because it's so stuck, I'm gonna let that go. My luck, it's gonna come loose here in just a second. So yeah, if you want to get this oil out, see, I'm off, I'm out. I'm just holding the plug up into the bottom of the pan. So now it's just one fluid, quick motion to keep from having that crap dribble all over your hands. So now that I've got that done, I'm gonna reach up here and just I'm gonna pull this cap off, and it's got a rubber O-ring that's kind of creating a little vacuum. But when I do that, you'll see that we're gonna start flowing pretty good. So I let some air in there, and now we're really letting the oil out. So that also helped me stay fairly clean. You know, wear the latex glove anyway, but still, I hate diesel oil. That crap, it don't come off. So we're gonna hang out for 5-10 minutes, let this drain, and then we'll get back at it. We'll throw these plugs back in, stick our filter back on, and then we'll move on to the other two filters. And we're gonna lube that O-ring. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and screw it on. And what I do is I spin it on until it till it touches. Bam, it touched right there, and then I usually give it about a quarter turn, and sometimes I'll back it off a little bit and then re-go just to seat that O-ring. So that's good for there. All right, next I will I'm going to throw those drain plugs back in the bottom. Okay, make sure I grab the one that has the gasket on it. Make sure I grab that one that goes on this side. Okay. And then the one that doesn't have the gasket, make sure it's still stuck on there, and it is. Go ahead and stick this one in. Okay. I like that. Come on, get on there. I'm just gonna double check this one. I like that. Okay. Okay, so that looks good. Like that. Like that. Like that. Okay, now here we go. Here's our hydraulic fluid filter. And as I was saying before, when we pull this thing off, it's gonna gush hydraulic fluid out. So we're gonna want to be prepared and ready to go and be quick about it. All right, I got it broke loose, so I'm gonna go ahead and get ready. There. There. All right, and that would have gushed out a lot worse, but I decided to go ahead and plug the breather, because I didn't want to deal with a huge mess. And what I did to do that was I just stuck a little piece of electrical tape over it. So down there. There we go. Electrical tape. And that just that helped prevent that thing gushing out a lot worse than it could have. So there's that. We really didn't lose a lot of fluid that way, which is good. So I'm just gonna give this guy a little wipe down, make sure everything's not dripping, because I don't want anything dripping after I'm done with the job that makes me question if I've got a leak or anything like that. So we want to make sure we get this nice and dry. We'll throw that we'll throw our hydrostat tranny filter on there, and then we'll be ready to put some oil in the crankcase. We're on the driver's side of the tractor, and right up underneath here is our tranny filter. And straight from the factory, of course, it's super tight too, so we'll use these filter pliers and get this guy broke loose. Okay, there we go, and right back on with the new. So there we have that. Another thing you want to make sure of is that none of your gaskets, all your gaskets, come off with your filters. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead and start filling the crankcase back up with oil, starting with 1 gallon. Which is equivalent to 4 quarts. And as the manual said, it should take, oh yeah, see, I saw it come up, so it almost overflowed there. It should take around 6. It should take 6 with the filter change. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with 5. And then I'll pull the dipstick, take a look, see if it's registering on the dipstick yet. Once I got it at the upper end of the operating range, I'll go ahead and fire it up, let it run for a few seconds, and then I'll fill up the filter, because right now that oil filter is empty. Unfortunately, I wish that that oil filter I was able to pre-fill it. It's just a little better on the engine, but it's also not that big of a deal either. It happens, it builds oil pressure pretty damn quick, so really not that big of a deal either. It would just be ideal if it was that way. So we got 5 in. Now I'll go ahead and pull the dipstick after I let this kind of drain in there a little bit, and then and see where we're at. It should register on the dipstick at this point, so we'll see. All right, I've fired up the tractor for about 30 seconds, shut it off, so I can check my oil level. So I'll pull my dipstick, give it a wipe, go back in with it, seat it all the way, pull it back out, and take a look. And gosh, we're right at the upper end of the operating range, so I'm gonna go with that for now. Another thing we need to do is check the level of our tranny. So we need to grab a light, and then on the HST tractors, not the manual trannies, but the hydrostatic transmissions, we've got a sight glass right there, and we're looking for the fluid to be halfway up that sight glass, kind of like you would do on a motorcycle or something. And I can see that it's at the bottom of the sight glass, but it's not all the way up to the top, so we need to add a little bit of fluid. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, well, I've added a little bit of our what do they call them, the Super UTD2 trans hydraulic fluid, a little bit at a time until I could see it come up. Well, it's hard to see, isn't it? Until I could see it come up on my sight glass to about halfway. One thing I did forget to get was an air filter. I'll get the air filter. And another thing is that my grease gun is broken. It don't work anymore, so I'm gonna have to buy a grease gun and an air filter, and I'll be able to wrap this thing up. But until then, the tractor's usable. Okay, so we're pretty much there. We've got our the tranny filled back up to its operating range. We've got the engine oil to its operating range. We've aired our tires up to 50 psi. And so yeah, I just need to buy a grease gun, need to buy an air filter, and we'll be able to wrap this job up. But until then, this tractor's usable. I'll be able to take care of things I need to take care of around here. So so with that, I hope you got something out of this, and thanks for watching.